Hey guys, Chris Anderson with Pursuit Hunting, bringing you another straight shooting gear review. Today we're going to be talking about the Wadewell 2-ply chest waders from Hodgman. I have worn these waders for a couple of years now, so I've had quite a bit of experience with them and have had plenty of opportunity to evaluate their strengths and their weaknesses, and we're going to talk about that. Before I get into that, let me tell you just a little bit about them. As I said, this is a 2-ply wader. It is constructed of 300 denier polyester, covered on the inside with a rubberized material. The uppers feature obviously straps, feature an inside pocket, has belt loops attached, and a cinch cord. The boots have a moderately lugged sole. They claim to have a reinforced toe cap. I suppose it might be a little bit reinforced. Can't really say that I would call it that. They have a steel shank, and they claim, as you can see here, I'll zoom in, that they're insulated. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. The purpose of these waders, I would have to say, is a very light duty, warm to maybe moderately cold weather wader. They're somewhat limited in their abilities to handle rougher types of conditions, and I'll talk about that in just a second. In my time wearing these, I'll just give you some of my impressions. First, I would say that getting in and out of them can be somewhat difficult because there's no lining in them. This rubberized material, if it's at all moist, can get fairly sticky, so with socks or whatever types of pants you're wearing underneath them can tend to get not necessarily stuck, but it makes it hard to slide your feet in and out of them. So a good pair of boot pullers comes in handy for getting out of them. On the other hand, I'll say that they do dry fairly quickly since there's no liner. If you hang them upside down, they dry pretty quickly, which is probably a good thing because they aren't the driest waders in the world. I'll talk about that in a minute. I have, as you may have seen on my earlier video about patching waders, done a fair amount of patching on these. Just about any time that I've had to go out and break ice in them, I've ended up having to patch along the front of the legs here, here, and then the other place where I've experienced a lot of leaking is actually on the back of the waders. Again, I'll zoom in, and actually you can see from the glare of the light pretty well there that all around here, I've probably actually done more stitching on the back, or more patching on the back of these waders than I have on the front. The rubber on the inside, let me see if I can zoom in here and show you this. Tends to develop cracks where the material pulls, and I think that over time the rubber just loses its stretchiness or whatever, and these end up being very leaky spots on the waders. I would say that whatever insulation the boot has, that again they tout on the front of the boot, is pretty darn minimal and is not much more than just the rubber that they're made out of. They claim that there's some foam in them. That's maybe so, but there's not much, I'll tell you that. I will say that the soles do provide a good amount of traction in mud, and with the wavy design here, they tend to not pick up a lot of mud, so I've never really had them cake up so badly that I had a hard time getting traction in them, so I would give them good marks for that. On this boot, let me zoom in here. It developed a sizable crack right along the top. You can see right here. It's right where this piece of rubber comes up and meets the top of the boot. It's cracked all along there. Okay, let's talk about our Quavo analysis on these. Quality, I think basically you get what you pay for, and these are not expensive waders, and I think it shows in the quality. I would definitely classify them as economy grade waders. They're very lightly constructed and, as I said, fairly prone to leaking. I did also find, as far as quality goes, that they seem to have, the manufacturer, cut the legs fairly small, so there's not a lot of room in them, probably to economize on the amount of material that they've used in them. Usability, as I mentioned before, they're a little bit difficult to get on and off. Again, this rubberized material tends to get a little bit sticky when it's at all moist. I'll say that the straps tend to stay on pretty well. There's a cross piece in the back. Well, they're a little twisted up, but you get the idea. There's a cross piece in the back that keeps the straps from sliding out. I do find that walking around in them, they tend to stay on pretty well. I would say that they're, as I mentioned before, they're probably warm to moderately cold weather waders. If you're planning a really cold trip, I would suggest that you might want to maybe use these as a backup pair, but I wouldn't depend on these as my sole pair of waders on a very cold, very expensive trip. Effectiveness. If you stay within their niche, which is warm to moderately cold weather, light conditions, I think these are an acceptable pair of waders. If you're going to get into serious ice breaking or hunting in pretty rough conditions, I would say that these are probably not a good choice. Let's talk about value. At $40 to $70 price point, they're obviously pretty inexpensive. However, if you treat them rough, you're probably going to be buying a pair fairly frequently, I should say. So weigh that in your value consideration there. So what's my opinion? I would say the hits, the lug soles provide good traction, minimal mud buildup. I'd say the low price point is a hit. I think they're a relatively good value for light use. As I said, they're quick drying. The suspension system on them is adequate. And so I would say that they're probably a good choice for occasional users, or perhaps something for a pair for children who might be growing that might only get a season of use out of them or something. Misses, they're just too lightly constructed for any type of heavy-duty use or extremely cold weather, as I've said. They're prone to leaks. The boot insulation is minimal, if any at all. They're difficult to put on and off. So I guess in summary, I certainly wouldn't count on them for a trip of a lifetime wader. For, again, occasional use or light use or for children, I find them acceptable, but I would certainly invest a little more money in a quality pair of waders if I were going to be depending on them under anything other than very easy conditions. So where can you get them if you're interested in buying a pair of them? These are available at many mass merchants. I think I bought these at a local chain sporting goods store. You can get them at Amazon. I'll put a link on my website for those. And again, the price point is fairly reasonable at anywhere between $40 to $70. I have found them on sale at about the $35 or $40 price range, which for a season's use is not bad. But anyway, that's my review of the Hodgman Wadewell 2-ply waders. Hope you enjoyed that, and we will come back with another gear review. We're going to be talking about turkey hunting blinds soon, so check back with us. We've got turkey season coming up, and we're going to do some comparisons of a couple of popular models. So stay tuned for that, and we'll bring it to you in just a few days. Chris Anderson with Pursuit Hunting signing out.